are here. When we woke up in the morning, did we know before we woke up or after? We know that we had a sound sleep. In sleep, I knew nothing. Only when I woke up, I had an idea coming from the memory of the mind oh, I had a sound sleep. I cannot know in sleep that I am sleeping. I cannot know in sleep that I am going to wake up now. So just say that who was sleeping? A sleeper. That's how I use the word. I slept. I had a sound sleep. I had a disturbed sleep. So there was some entity, I, who was a sleeper during the deep sleep. But when I woke up, I did not know anything about the sleeper. So when I wake up, that appears as a different entity than the sleeper. So now I have two I, one is the waker and other is the sleeper. Because the sleeper does not know what the waker is, waker does not know who was the sleeper. But for both of them I use I slept soundly. Are you listening to me or are you sleeping? No, I am awake. So I am a waker. I am a waker. I am a waker. And the same thing happens, I was dreaming. So the third I came. I was a dreamer. Dreamer. So there are three I's: sleeper, dreamer, and waker. Logically go. Now you ask the question, who knew all of them? Who knew? Who knew I was a sleeper, I was a waker, and I was a dreamer? We are repeating this session from the chapter 1 of this master. Who was? So now see that I became dreamer, I became sleeper, I became dreamer. But there was some entity present behind becoming a dreamer, sleeper, and waker. That entity knew all the three states. But that was neither the waker, nor the dreamer, not the sleeper. How come? That is why I know that I pass through all the three states, mental states of sleeper, dreamer, and waker. Do you see? That entity, that I is the real I. The moment you find during the day that I which is changing, reject it. That I is ego. That I is ego. And behind that, the one who knows that this is ego, one who knows this is sleeper, one who knows this is the dreamer, one who knows this is the waker, is the real I. What is it? Master says this is pure consciousness. So now see that we sleep, sometimes we dream and sometimes we do not dream, and we wake up. So possibly sometimes we don't know the dreams. So these three states passes every day, every week, every month, every year for so many years, but that I remain the same. That I remain the same throughout the entire journey. That is the goal of Eastern wisdom. That is what the self-discovery is. If any I that changes, I'm angry. Before that, I was not angry. Okay. This is not me. Look at it. Understand it clearly. We have to simply understand and recognize. Entire journey is to have the cognitive ability to recognize which is the real I, which is the false I. We all have experiences of a dream. In the dream, I am a dreamer. In waking state, I am a waker. In sleep, I am a sleeper. But still something tells me, so many years, so many months and weeks and days, I am passing through all the three phases, but that I remain the same. Tell me if it is not the same. That I is our real self, and that real self is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. That is what we need to now let us move ahead. Can we say the sleeper, dreamer, waker superimposed on this real I? I'm using the same word which this master is using in this section. Even after the sleeper, dreamer, waker superimposed on the real I still know. I, real I, still knows that false I changes from the sleeper, dreamer, and waker. Once we know it, it is awakening. And that is why I gave an example. The clouds clouded the sun. How do you know? How do you see that cloud? Clouded sky, clouded sun. Sunlight, presence of the sunlight. So that real I is present in the sleeper, is present in the waker, is present in the dreamer. After all, when I wake up, I had a memory that I had a sound sleep. But the sleep, that memory is stored in the mind. I cannot know if there is no knower. And that knower is the same. So I recognized sleeper, waker, and the dreamer. Can we say sleeper, dreamer, and waker superimposed on this I? Superimposed does not mean that real I is not present. It is present, it is superimposed. Sleeper, superimposed. Waker, superimposed. Dreamer, superimposed. Superimposed does not mean that they got mixed up. No. They keep their identity as it is. So what happens? These are the three entities superimposed on the real I. I realize the consciousness still present and the same. Now ask yourself, oh, how it is superimposed? How it is superimposed? In a mental deep sleep, the mind is non-functional, almost non-functional, because I'm not aware of the sense organ, I'm not aware of the body. To to have that experience, I need the sense organ, the mind, and the intellect, and the I thought to work. Oh, but that is the I thought, that is the false I. Okay. So that false I was present, so I did not have a conscious experience of the sleep. But someone accumulated that experience. So when I woke up, I knew that I had a sound sleep. Who is that someone? Real I. So there is a condition of superimposition. There is an entity which is superimposed, and there is an entity who superimposes. Here, in this case, sleeper, waker, and dreamer superimposes. Real I remains as it is. It does not change. We have already understood that. So there is, or you can say conditioner or conditioned or overlapping, whatever you want to say. Are you listening to me? Yes. On the back of listening, you are aware, you are in a session. Mind has changed. Still you are aware you are attending the session. You see that? Time has passed. Another 15 minutes. You are still aware you are in a session. One thing is very common, that does not change. Where? That does not change in me. And that unchanging identity, that unchanging factor is I am. Another way to understand, whatever changes cannot be me. Sleeper changes to waking, yes, sleeper is not me. Waker changes into dream, yes, the waker is not me. It is all functioning of the mind. The dreamer changes is to waker, yes, I'm none of them, but I am. I'm none of them, but I am. That I am is who am I, is the answer to the who am I. Another way to understand, what exists if it is independent of any cause and effect, that is the real I. And if any I, that constantly changes. It has been changing, the sleeper, waker, and the dreamer. If you are 65, it has changed 65 for the last 65 years. That cannot be me. Why? I cannot. How can I say that that is not me? Because that I is the same. But I identify with the false I. That is what the superimposition is. It is only a matter of understanding. The definition of the false, that appears to exist but that does not. Like mirage water. Like mirage, not mirage. Mirage water, yes, you can say. So, does it mean that the sleeper, waker, and the dreamer appear, they are like the mirage? Yes. So this is what is beautifully explained in a metaphor by this master. Every master, now who knows, who is well versed with the teaching, the Eastern wisdom, they use the metaphor from this master. Pot space. So that pot space. So space is independent of the pot, but now when I say pot space, that pot space at one time is a sleeper, second time it is a dreamer, third time it is awaker. Space does not change. You can change the color of the pot, the size of the pot, the duration of the pot doesn't make any difference to the space. So that pot space, meaning pot plus the space, is what we say an individual. I am an individual. I am a teacher. I am a student. I am a man. I am a woman. Space with the pot. So is the pot superimposed on the space? Yes. Does the space inside and the outside the pot changes? No. So now compare this, come to the application of this. So it means the body-mind complex is superimposed on the real self. Body-mind complex. From the part space, we draw a conclusion. Oh, body-mind complex is superimposed on the real self that has created sleeper, waker, and dreamer. But the consciousness still is independent. Consciousness still is independent. See that? See it clearly. That is, we need to see it inside the head. We need a cognitive ability to see that. The same way the master compares at a micro level the space, part space, real self, individual self. Individual sleeps, individual wakes up, individual dreams. Real self has nothing to do with it. Real self has nothing to do with it. It is ever present. Micro level. Same thing happens at the entire macro level. All the bodies together. All the living and the non-living species together. Plus an intelligence, because the nature is working intelligently. So that is the cosmic mind, and the entire world is the cosmic body. And the cosmic mind is superimposed on the supreme or the infinite consciousness. Are you getting it? Yes. You have to see from that metaphor. Why we use the metaphor? To understand the principles and the concept. What is understanding? Understanding is knowledge. What is knowledge? So I can see the cause and effect clearly. I can see the cause and effect clearly. What do you mean by I can see? It is the cognitive ability, that is the cognition, that is the knowledge. I see the house. I understand it is an enclosed space. 5,000 square feet house. Okay. 5,000 square feet of the space is enclosed, but the space is independent. Just pay attention. Just pay attention, and we are there. We are there. Body-mind complex superimposed on the consciousness. So two entities, individual consciousness and the real self. That real self is the same in everyone. Individual self, because of the variation in the body-mind complex, which is constantly changing, are different. Otherwise, there is no difference at that level. Same way, the cosmic mind, macro level, cosmic mind, the entire world that appears to me like it is a mirage. This body appears, it is a mirage. How come it is a mirage? Did it exist before 65 years? No. Will it exist after? Add another, say, 30 years maximum. Oh, no, no, no. I want to live for two. Okay, add 200 years. So after 200 years, it will remain non-existent. Does it happen to anything to the consciousness? No, that consciousness is the real self. That is all pervading. So now this master goes little deeper. He says, let us understand this superimposition. We have three factors of superimposition. And now we are applying that metaphor here. Superimposition. The physical body and the subtle body, that is the mind and the body, we can say body and mind complex along with the sense organs, are superimposed on that consciousness. Physical body, we say 5 elements. Mind is also made up of the 5 elements, but to the sense organs and motor organs. So 2 bodies superimposed on the consciousness. So you can see, you can use another word, the conditioner. So which is the conditioner? We are going a little deeper. So what is the conditioner? Conditioner, it is the physical and the subtle body. Who is conditioned? Real self or consciousness. Who is conditioned? Now the third factor is the conditioning process, which links the two. Because if there is no conditioning process, then there is no superimposition. So these three things go together. That concludes the entire conditioning process. That concludes, and then we experience, no, I was a sleeper, I was a dreamer, and I'm a waker now. I am a waker now. Don't forget, when I say the clouds clouded the sun. Oh, do you see that? Yes. How do you see? In the presence of the sunlight. So the sun is already present there. The consciousness is always present. You superimpose. Even if the body and mind complex is superimposed, it is still present there. Who experiences the pain and the pleasure, hatred and the jealousy? It is the body-mind complex. Nothing happens to the consciousness. That knower, that seer is the real self. What a beautiful house it is. So I forget the architect of that house. I forget the consciousness, and then I look into the mirror. How smart I am. You are looking at the false eye. You are looking at the variations and the changes of the body-mind complex. I am attracted by this beautiful woman. We forget the architect of that woman. It is the beauty of that consciousness reflected in the body-mind complex of an individual who becomes the Miss Universe. No, we have to go a little deeper. So now see, we have to see that we have to see that that very, what we say, conditioning process, the third factor. We have understood the conditioner, we have understood who is conditioned. Now what exactly, how this conditioning process takes place, it gives me an idea that I'm an individual, I'm not the real self. The master is answering now. The master says, on that pure consciousness which is real self, first superimposed the imagined intellect. In that intellect, the real self or the consciousness get reflected. I'm going slowly. Where I said, so now see, I'm not going there, but I'm deviating a bit and return back. In order for any medium to reflect the sun, there must be a medium should be capable of reflecting the light. So the mirror or the shining object can reflect the light. A pure stone does not reflect. A pure body, no. Mind, yes. Return back. Return back of what? That on the pure consciousness, or what we say, the real self here, is superimposed the imagined intellect. That becomes a reflected medium. In that intellect, the real self is reflected. First conditioning process. Second conditioning process, the reflection animated by the vitality, we become an individual. We forget the real self. Sun in the sand. Sand becomes the reflected medium. And the reflection. See, reflected medium and the reflection. So that very reflection is the vitality. This vitality, this breath also is not me. Come on. It is constantly changing. You see how this metaphor is applied here. So we say at a normal level, body-mind complex. But we are going deeper, which is the highest faculty. Why it is the highest faculty? Because it is near to the consciousness. So imagine intellect is reflecting the real self in it. Mirror, reflecting my image in it. First, it gets reflected. Now what happens to that reflection? That reflection is a vitality. Breath, cell, animal, vitality, you see. Oh, that is what it means by an individual. Yes. And that individual is subject to transmigration. It is constantly changing. So that consciousness now has another consciousness which is known as the reflected consciousness. Where is reflected consciousness? That is what we say, I am an individual, I am rich, I am poor, I am good, I am bad. See clearly. So when I say, I have a pain, you are talking of in reflected consciousness. Now I have a breath. You're talking of reflected consciousness at a different level, in varying degree. Everyone's intellect and mind is different, so everyone's reflection will be different. So every individual will have to be different. But behind that, there is only one entity. There is only one entity there, my friend. So this consciousness was conditioned by the two bodies. The most significant of this conditioning process happens in the intellect. What did we say? What is understanding knowledge? I must know the cause and effect relationship. One thing we have to remember, this consciousness is causeless. The most significant of the conditioning process happens in the intellect, the key component of the subtle body. The intellect is thus the conditioner of the consciousness. No, how can you say that? Okay, how did you say that I slept soundly? From where this thought has come? In your intellect. The consciousness reflected in the intellect. Were you awake in the sleeping? So you recognized it? No. Like all conditioners, the intellect is superimposed on the pure consciousness. That is why I use the word imagined, because it is not real. It is not real as consciousness, but the conditioner of the consciousness. I explain all the three factors. That real self, that consciousness is always the same. It never changes. Everything, you can roughly say body-mind complex or reflected consciousness or an individual is constantly changing, undergoing sleep, dream, and sleep, dream in the waking state. It has been doing for the last as many years you are living now. It gives mind, then jumps in. Mind says, how dare you say that I am real self? Yesterday, I lived in the three state. Day before yesterday, I lived in the state. 10 years ago, I lived in the same state. At the time of the birth, yes, I was living in the same state, I can infer. How dare you say that you are the real self? I don't want to remember, I don't want to recall your memory who said you repeat the false 10 times, it appears as true. But we have been doing it for so many years, every day, in every transaction. So if we bypass the cause and effect relationship, we enter into the false notion. What is this false notion? False notion is known as misconception. False notion, misconception is known as ignorance. False notion is known as the ignorance. Whatever masters say, asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. So master says what? Master says, remove the false misconceptions by understanding. It cannot be removed by any practice. Practice is a purifier of the mind. We are doing it on Mondays and Thursdays session. So how to remove? Ignorance to wisdom. What will happen? Until now, I feel that I was born, I will die. Now I know I'm unborn, unchanging, immortal, one consciousness. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, and you see, any action that you did, you should be aware why you are doing that. Cause and effect. Put the cause and effect relationship there and see what happens. Eyes are closing, I have to withdraw. My mind has to look inside, because outside I am not present. That is the understanding. If that understanding lives in the mind, we are not too far from the recognizing the real self. My friend, understand that clearly. You are just aware. Awareness plus eyes closed. We're not doing any practice. So I use any word, you have to be aware. Any word and every word pertains to an individual body-mind complex in the world. But why we have to, anything that we follow in terms of the word and the speech and the sentence pertains to the individual consciousness, it cannot be the real. But real consciousness is always present. Otherwise the thought cannot be reflected. Oh, what did you say? So now I'm saying being comfortable. I experience being comfortable, which is an individual consciousness in the presence of the awareness. That is the real I. It is here and now, my friends. So once you see the mirage, water in the desert, what happens? You're driving in a desert like in Arizona, you see the water at a far distance, the knowledge recognizes, okay, I know. So you are talking, you know, who am I? You're angry, you know, who am I? What? Yes. Is that awakening? Yes. Being comfortable. Now let me use the same phrases and just recognize the real and the false I. They live together. They cannot be separated. One thing you should be very clear. You cannot destroy the false I. So those people we say destroy the I and then you realize no. You show the false I its place. You should not exceed to this limit. You do not claim that I am the real I. You do not claim that I die and I am born. You have no right. You are only a reflection. Being comfortable, neck joint, sensation, comfort and steadiness. Now you see the neck joint is a part of the body and the mind complex, entity of the individual self, and awareness is different. So I have already discerned, separated in my head, in that intellect, here is a false I, here is the real. Here is the mirage water, and here is the sun in the sand. I'm not saying anything more. I'm not saying anything more. mind is jumping, individual self. Who is aware of that? I am. So that is why the Master says, let the mind jump. Who cares? Sensation, comfort, and steadiness in the field of awareness, space in the field of awareness. Awareness is the space, and the space is awareness. Why I say so? Cause and effect. Find out. Oh, the space represents the objectless state of the mind. What do you mean by objectless state? Go deeper. What do you mean? Nothing is objectified. What do you mean by that? Nothing is objectified. It means the mind cannot be divided here between the I and the you. It is the mind that objectifies. So what happens in the objectless state? That is, without objectification, the real self is shining there. What do you say? Yes. The steps do not mean anything in this journey. Oh, let me do this step and that step. That is why it is a non-practice. Practice is structured as the steps. But here we are understanding. Okay. Let me use the same stuff again. Being carefree. Is the consciousness, is the real I is not carefree ever? It is. But then why you say being carefree? I said because superimposed. I cannot see the reality because of the superimposition. Okay. So I'm using the intellect to destroy the same. I'm using the same superimposition to remove that superimposition. For that we need a purified state of the mind. Because if the mind is distracted, we lose that awareness, we can create any objectification, and we fall back into the same ignorance. Being carefree. Where is the reference point? It is the individual self, not the real self. Are you seeing that? I'm using the same words to facilitate your understanding. I'm not making any statement that is very complex. Being carefree, it is with reference to the reflected consciousness. Maintaining and repairing the house is with reference to the bricks and the walls in the bedroom, but not with reference to the space. Again, go back to the same metaphor, the part space. Oh. But, or because these thought interferes constantly, creates the ripples of variations of the in the individual, that I am in stress, I have lot of thoughts, I don't have any thought. Hence, being carefree, but being carefree is not a step, not a practice. So the intellect recognizes unwanted, unwelcome thoughts entering into the mind, leaving it. It is constantly changing, hence it is a false self because it is changing. Pain, yes, changing. Pleasure, yes, changing. Body, yes, changing. Mind, yes, changing. Thoughts are changing. Emotions are changing. Feeling is changing. So if you have many subtle superimpositions, you cannot see the real self. Hence they are branded as the impurities of the mind. No, but we are just understanding being carefree. Any thought, any feeling, you have unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. You have another thought, let me see it. Both are superimposed, but we have to use them. That is why I'm talking. Otherwise, my talking will be meaningless. Are you aware of that factor? So thought comes that we brand as an unwanted. Another thought, we replace it. Okay, I'm a witness. I'm not this. So now both the thoughts have gone. What happens? You are in awareness. Again the thought comes. No issue. We create another thought. What is that thought? That thought says that I'm a witness. I just see this. Thoughts are coming and going. They are changing. And the next moment, both the thoughts are gone. What is left is awareness, or what we say, the consciousness. Here, awareness and consciousness are same. Why? I did not say aware of. Now see, aware of unwanted thought, feeling, experiences. Good. Aware of the thought that is replacing I am a witness. Behind that, there is still the awareness remains. That is the real self. That is consciousness. That is how those masters recognize this. They say from the standpoint of one wave to the other wave, I, me, you, he are there. But the wave has yet to recognize it is just the water. Because without water, the wave cannot exist. Do you see? Without that consciousness, the individual self has no place to exist. Oh, but it exists in that existence. Oh? So, from the standpoint of the ocean, I see the world outside and I am separate from the world. Very good. From the standpoint of the water, wow, I am the water. I am not the wave. Just see the superimposition. I am neither the individual nor the world. I am the consciousness where it is all pervading. It is one. Can we turn every step into this process? What is the process? I'm aware of the conditioner, I'm aware of the conditioning process, and I'm aware of who is conditioned. Why you brought back the same thing? That is what we are in. Conditioner, conditioning process, and the one entity which is conditioned. When I am able to see clearly, no, I'm using the word I am, intellect. There the I thought. I'm using, when I say I'm looking into the conditioning process, this is a thought. The one conditioning process is destroyed by the other. What is left? Nothing is left. One wave recognizes the other wave. That I and you are both false entities. Then that wave is no longer the wave, it is the real self, it is the consciousness all pervading, one entity. When I can see, again I am using the conditioning. Imagine intellect, I told you just now. Am I teaching? No. Are you learning? No. At the highest level, both are conditioning. So when the seeker and the teacher are one, two waves become one. How? What is the condition to recognize that they are one? How to recognize? You have an answer. Two individuals. Conditioning process has taken place. You recognize the conditioner. And you also recognize who is conditioned. You are there. You are there, my friend. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, on the left hand, lift your both the palms, place it in your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. Yes, if you have any question, you can share and let us share our experiences. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. The meditation was deep. It went by very fast. There was absolutely zero distraction.
Beautiful.
And I think it's very clear that what is changing is not me. And I did have a question when you said close your eyes and why we do that, and because I am inside.
Yeah.
And at that moment I thought, but I'm also outside.
Yeah.
Because just like the pot space.
Yeah.
I'm so when this body's gone, I'm still there.
Beautiful. Yes, one point that you mentioned that also explains in another principle we will be taking up in the future why we say close our eyes in all types of meditation. The mind is hypnotized by moving outside. It is hypnotized by the external world. So to dehypnotize, first we have to recognize that we are the consciousness, we are the space in the pot. Then only I can recognize the space outside. Beautiful. How are you, Dennis?
I'm good. Thank you, Guruji. The meditation was very deep, calm, and quiet. But I do have a question about this conditioning.
Yes.
So you said that conditioning is happening in the intellect, meaning that it happens by the thoughts, right? So it happens at every moment of the thought. Uh, does does it mean that I have to be aware of every moment of every thought to remove that conditioning or to work around that conditioning?
The moment you said that I have to be aware of every thought, are you not aware?
No. There are thoughts that work
Oh, very good,
subconsciously.
very good. I agree with you. Are you not aware that you are not aware of thought?
I'm aware that I'm not aware of some of the thoughts, and
That
I'm
is
aware that I'm
that
some
is
of the other parts.
The moment I am aware that I am not aware is another conditioning process. That is enough. You need not to worry about that I have to be aware of the thought at every moment. That makes you aware of both the process. Contemplate, reflect. That principle is coming.
But that is what already happens. I'm aware of some of the thoughts, and I'm aware of the fact that I'm not aware of other parts of the thoughts. So what is to be changed?
Here comes a conclusion. Am I aware? Not of anything. Am I aware or am I not aware? It is not of the thought. Why? These principles are coming later because it is very beautifully answered by this master. The moment I see I am aware of, I enter into the second layer of the delusion. I want to objectify. I am not aware, I am aware of. I am not aware of. So my mind has already objectified another object. So the very objectification is the problem. I am aware. Finished. Finished. I am aware that I am not aware. I am aware that I am aware of a thought. Both are gone. Both are objectification. We are going to pick up, no worries. This master is not going to leave us at any if we are a seeker. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm good. Mine was calm, easy.
Easy. Beautiful. Mind is calm and easy. I'm sending you the transcripts also every time. So if you look at it and if you see any question, you summarize it. Yes, Terry, how are you?
I'm good. It was very fast.
It was very fast, yes.
I would like to have had more time.
Yeah, sometime 1 hour passes very fast and sometime 1 hour passes very slow. See the objectification of the mind.
I was aware of,
Yes.
I was playing with the awareness
Good?
of being inside
Okay,
and looking at the inside of my body.
okay.
Like if you're in the house and you see the walls and the windows.
Yeah.
I was playing with that. I don't know why. And sometimes we have a thought that we didn't purposely
Unwanted.
create. And yeah, that we didn't do.
Yeah.
I had a thought that was so strange. I thought, where the hell did this come from?
Yes.
And then I wondered why.
Why? Because of the past impressions accumulated in the mind, they trigger. They are constantly triggering. Some of the thoughts we become aware of, and other thoughts we are not aware of. And going into the same question again of Dennis, it's a beautiful question and it is beautifully. What happens, this master raises the same question and then it answers the same question. At the highest level, we understand that real self cannot be objectified. That is the right answer. So I am aware of any objectification. I destroy that objectification by another objectification. It is gone. What happens? The real self shines. We are awakened.
So if you say,
yeah,
I am aware of my real self.
That is also an objectification. You had asked a beautiful question.
So that's not it.
They are. When I say I am aware of the real self, that is an objectification by the intellect. But I use it in order to remove that objectification. Then what is left? It is left as only the consciousness. I am a wave from the standpoint of another wave. I am using it. Objectification. From the standpoint of an ocean, oh, what a beautiful ocean, and I am simply a small wave. Again, I am using an objectification. We have to follow this process in order to reach to the highest level. And then the mind suddenly says, drop all the objectification. Then what is left? You drop the individuality, you drop the ocean. What is left? Water. Now you don't recognize yourself as a wave. There is no cognition. But at the surface level, again you say, I am aware of the real self. So in order to express that at an individual level, you are expressing, you are conveying that thought process. It is not so easy, but it is easy. For a seeker, it is easy. We are going to do that. That is